All right. What's going on to my full circle family, man? What's going on? I just put some stuff in the chat and I decided I'm gonna give a video breakdown for the people who may not understand it all the way. So, bear with me. I know I'm in the wife beater. You guys see me in the wife beater, man. I'm comfortable. And you guys is really seeing me live in the flesh. So, we about to get straight into it. I hope everybody's having a good Thursday so far. And I'm about to just hop straight into how I read the charts, not only me, but how investors, traders, right, when it comes to reading the charts in the stock market, how do we actually position ourselves to predict what's going to happen in the next day? What are we looking at? What are we looking at when it comes down to these charts, right? So I'm going to break down some things that we look at when it comes down to these charts after I did an analysis for where I think we're going tomorrow, right? So let me know if you guys want to see more content like this, and let's just get straight into breaking it down. So we're going to start with SPY, right? So what SPY is, if you don't know what SPY is the ticker symbol, and what a ticker symbol is just the symbol of the specific stock. So SPY S&P 500 is an index that makes up basically like a big, basically it puts all the top 500 public companies, the top 500 companies on the stock market under a big umbrella. So they call that an index fund, right? So what SPY is an index fund of the top 500 companies of the U.S. And this is what we use to measure the stock market overall, right? Because if it's made up of the top 500 companies, well, most of these companies make up the movement of the stock market. So this is how we predict, or this is what we use to kind of gauge where the market is going to go, right? So as you can see here, I have my chart pulled up, and I'm gonna break down this chart, right? So then you guys could have an understanding for yourself. So let me move some things out the way on this video, make my face a little smaller. We'll go like that so you guys can really see. All right. Bet. So first we'll start with we will start with what resistance, support, and basically what those two things mean, right? So right here we're on a 15-minute time frame. So if you look up here to the top left, you can see that we're on a 15-minute time frame. You can look on a 1 minute, you can look on an hour. Let's change it to the hour. You can look on an hour, you can look on a 4 hour, and you can look on a daily, and then you can look on a 1 minute, right? And then we can go to 5 minute. But right now we're gonna go to the 15-minute time frame. And what the time frame does, what these candlesticks are doing is telling you the exact price of the moves in the market, right? So when you're on a 15-minute time frame, each candle represents a 15-minute candle, right? So right now we're on a 15-minute time frame, and we can see what's going on. So let's break it down. So let's start with resistance. So do you see? I'm gonna circle the top up here. This is called resistance because these candles are resisting at this price. So price is failing to get above that. Get above. Candles are failing to get above that price. All right, price is failing to get above the price of $576. That's why we call it resistance. Right now, I'm trying to find a tool right here, this brush tool, so then you guys could actually see the resistance, right? So based off of this brush tool, if you look here, you can see right here, based on these 15-minute candles, this tells you it's Tuesday, March 25th. Price resisted at $576, and then again, right here, price resisted at 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday at this price, and then it dropped. So it resisted twice at $506, $76, sorry. And then we moved down, right? And right here at 564, we call this support, right? So we call this support because if you look in the previous days, price is failing to get past that level, right? So I'm gonna circle it again. Price is failing to get past that level. Price comes down to this level around 564, and it typically bounces up, right? And we've also seen price come down, right, at 564, and then it's also came down and then came down to the level of 560 and 568. So that's why we call it support. And what we do is we see where price is at right here in the middle, right? let me circle where we're at in the middle. Right now we're at the price of 567. We're kind of in the middle, right? So right here you have a small resistance of $570 as well. Price is right here at 567, right? Let me make sure you guys can see the prices. How I'm getting these prices is over here. So let me make my screen a little bit smaller so you guys can see everything. So let's do that. So I'm getting these prices. Oh, you can't even see the prices. Sorry guys, bear with me, man. Well, I guess then okay. So I'm getting the prices from over there on the side, right here. Those are the prices, and you guys can do this on TradingView. That's the application, is TradingView. You can do that, and you can do this on your own time, or you can do it with me while following this video, right? So right here in the middle, we see price at 567, right? If price is there at 567, and this is resistance, right? And this is previously resistance. What we do tomorrow is, okay, we see that we're kind of in the middle here. We wait to see if price comes down here to 564, and if it may play a little bit and then go down to 560, because if it breaks that with volume, right, if it breaks that with a lot of momentum, then we can expect it to go down to 559 to 558 to 560, right? And then we also expect that because it's done that before over here on Monday, March 17th, right? When it broke that level, it came down. After it may have bounced off that level, at some point Monday, March 7th, it broke that level and went all the way down to 560, right? So we can either expect that, or what we can do is we can expect price to go up to the upside, right? Maybe play at this resistance level and then go up to the upside to 575, right? So we can see either direction, and how we play it is by basing it off what goes down here at the support and what goes down at the resistance, right? So we see $570, right? So if we move to the upside, all we're doing is, okay, we understand the market either goes up or down, but when it does go up, what price is it going to? Okay, it's going to 570, right? Okay, if what it does at 570 may tell me whether or not, if it rejects that 570 and goes right back down to the downside, we may be going back to 564, right? But if it breaks down, if it breaks 570 and breaks the resistance, we should be going back and filling that gap right here to 576, right? And then if we break 576, well, you know what we can expect. We can expect some more to the upside, which is, you know, maybe let's see, after 576, the next level of resistance seems to be 580, right? So that's how we base it. So with this, let me clear everything out and show you guys what a bear flag pattern is, right? And then also break down as to why we see a lot of volatility. So the market is down right now. We see a lot of volatility due to Trump, right, being in office. So one thing that moves the market is news. So the market, it goes hand in hand with what goes on in our economy. So what that means is, if Trump is talking about tariffs and putting 25% tariffs on imported goods or imported vehicles, right, well, that affects the stock market because companies get affected, right? So like today, right, he put a tariff on 25% tariff, and what a tariff is basically tax on other countries that are trying to import goods into our country. So China, they sell their Hondas in our country, or I think Honda's I don't know if Honda's a Chinese made car or not. I don't know, it doesn't matter, but let's use that as an example. Say China, they're making the Hondas and they import the Hondas into our country, right? There's just going to be an additional 25% for them to send those Hondas into our country. So who gets affected? Us as consumers. We get affected because now that it costs them more to bring it in our country, Honda is no longer going to be a cheaper car. Honda is going to be marked up 25%. So it goes from being 30,000 to whatever 30,000 is increased by 25%, right? Let's look it up real quick. But I want to talk about the bear flag pattern. Let's not even get off the topic, right? So what the bear flag pattern is, I put that in here in the chat, right? So a bear flag pattern, when it comes down to patterns in the stock market, right? You can look at these candlesticks, and these candlesticks, they will form a pattern that historically gives us an end result. So a bear flag pattern, when we see a pattern like this, right, where you see you got the pole, you see consolidation, we call this little play right here, consolidation is moving up and down, it forms a little flag, right, and then it goes down and forms the other pole, right? So that's what we see right here. Or it either happens or it doesn't happen, but you can see right here it's going along with the bear flag pattern. We see this pole being formed. Okay, we see the consolidation being formed right here with the two support and resistance levels right here, and then we can see that we can expect price to maybe play some more, right? We can expect price to, it came down, it can either drop all the way, but it may play some more in this range. It's either going to the upside or this side. But historically, based off the pattern, we're guessing and predicting, right, that it's going to go down to the downside because of what the historical pattern shows us, right? It breaks down to the downside. So that's what the bear flag pattern means. That's what the bear flag formation means. And right here, I placed the tariffs up in here so you guys can go on CNBC and read all this. But this is why we're seeing volatility in the market, right? This is why we may see him based off, because the market, a lot. So what Trump is doing, man, Trump is moving a lot of things in the economy, right? So he's moving so many things around within our economy that the market doesn't like uncertainty, right? So Trump is trying to find out, is trying to make these moves to really find stability in how he's going to maneuver. So until Trump finds his stability and how he's going to maneuver, if he's going to place these tariffs, is he's not going to place these tariffs, right? Is he going to be hard on certain things? Is he not going to be hard on certain things, right? Until market finds that footing with Trump in office, right, we're going to be able to see, or we're going to expect to see, volatility. And what volatility means, market may be up. Market was last Friday, March 21st at 560. Market last Tuesday, March 25th, or that was just 2 days ago, March 25th at 576. Now today, 566. So that's volatility, and all that volatility came from Trump saying something about these tariffs, right? So that's just a little breakdown on the video that I just released, or the content that I just released. So no, for the people that don't understand, you can take the time to understand, right? I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's your boy Fisher Go Getter. I hope you learned something. I'm out.